Hello everyone, my name is Ikensi Mama Prosperine and I'm here with another book summary. We're starting a new book this week and it is called Living Prayer by the Metropolitan Anthony Bloom. Worship isn't just about going to church, saying prayers or singing hymns. It's about relationship. Think about the closest friendships you have. You don't maintain them just by sending text or checking in on special occasions. Real connections happen when you truly see the other person, spend time with them, and share moments of silence and understanding. Worship is like that, but with God. A lot of people struggle with worship because it can feel like a routine or disconnected. You might go through the motions, show up at church, say the words, kneel, stand, sing, but something still feels missing. That's because worship isn't just about the actions, it's about the connection. If God feels distant or abstract, then worship can feel empty, like talking into a void. But when you begin to experience Him as real and present, worship becomes entirely different. It becomes an encounter. Metropolitan Anthony believed that worship can't be forced. You can teach someone how to pray, but you can't make them experience the presence of God. That's something personal. Imagine being in a conversation with someone who doesn't listen to you. They might nod, they might say the right things, but you can tell their mind is somewhere else. That's how worship can feel when the heart isn't engaged. But when you recognize God as real and personal, worship stops being a tax and starts feeling like a natural response, like talking to someone who truly knows and loves you. One of the most powerful aspects of worship is silence. If you've ever been around someone you deeply trust, you know that silence isn't awkward, it's comfortable. You don't need to fill every moment with words. Sometimes just being together is enough. Metropolitan Anthony shared a story about an old man who would sit in church for hours. When asked what he was doing, he simply said, "I look at him, he looks at me, and we are happy together." That's worship. It's not always about talking, it's about being present with God. The problem is, we live in a world that doesn't do well in silence. We are constantly bombarded with noise, notifications, music, conversations, deadlines. The idea of sitting in silence or stillness feels foreign, maybe even uncomfortable. But if you want to experience true worship, you will have to create few moments in the middle of the busy day, taking deep breaths and acknowledging that God is with you. It could mean turning off distractions and sitting in quiet for a while, letting your heart rest in His presence. Worship isn't just something that happens on Sundays, it's something that can happen anywhere and at any time. When you pause to appreciate a beautiful sunset and silently thank God, that's worship. When you choose to forgive someone instead of holding a grudge, that's worship. When you go through a difficult time but still trust that God is with you, that's worship. Metropolitan Anthony often quoted Psalm 51 verse 15. "O Lord, open my lips and my mouth shall show forth your praise." He understood that worship isn't something we manufacture, it's something God awakens in us. Our role isn't to try hard to force ourselves to feel something. It's simply to show up, to create space in our lives, to acknowledge God's presence, and to respond in whatever way feels real. At its core, worship is about relationship. It's not about saying the right words, performing right actions, or trying to impress God. It's about being with Him, learning to recognize Him in the small moments, and allowing that connection to transform everything. Worship isn't a chore, it's an invitation. And when we accept that invitation, we find that we are not alone, that we are deeply known, and that we are loved beyond measure. As we meditate on this book, I pray that God will open our eyes, enlighten our minds, and make us a living prayer. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of this summary. For questions, suggestions, and the written form of this summary, you could reach us at christianbooksummaries1@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you, and see you in the next episodes.